Welcome back to Real World Deer Hunter. I'm Steve. If you like our content, please give us a like and a subscribe and maybe even drop a comment. Okay, so the statement. Keep shooting all the does. There won't be any deer left. It's true. If you harvest too many does, you're not going to get the recruitment you need. Now, where did all this come from? Well, back in I'm going to say in the 80s, there was a big push to balance out the habitat in a lot of areas in the eastern United States, especially Pennsylvania. They had the whole Gary Holt thing where he came in, made a bunch of recommendations based on the knowledge they had at the time. They thought that, well, more food per deer would equal bigger deer, and they also put in an antler restriction. Okay, 3 points on one side. First thing they did in Pennsylvania was they decided that we got to get rid of a lot of these does. Okay, we, because I was there for it. We shot a pile of them. I mean, we shot them and shot them and shot them and shot them. We shot so many does that areas where we would see 50 and 60 and even more deer in a day's sit on an opening day, it became to where you didn't see a deer. Then everybody was in an uproar. Oh boy, we did it. We did it to ourselves. We listened to them. We pretty much shot the place out. But it needed to be done. Here's where I'm coming from. Your average whitetail deer, okay, deer, just not doe, buck, anything like that, eats about 2,000 pounds of forage a year. 2,000 pounds. Little shrubs and briar tops and buds and stuff like that. Sure, some deer have the ability to go and feed on lawns and stuff like that and farm fields. But there was also another something that started happening at that time, which was farming got a lot cleaner. So a lot of deer did not have access to the food they did. Now you add that to the fact that they had pretty much eaten themselves out of house and home in the woods, it was creating a real problem. So, how did they fix the problem? They got rid of deer. They got rid of a lot of deer. To be honest, in areas, they got rid of too many deer. Okay? Just too many. But it's like a pendulum. It swings in one direction, and it causes something else to swing in another direction. The reason they did it was their forest habitat was going to get decertified. It was that bad a condition. And just like somebody who keeps spending more than they have, eventually the bank account's empty. There was nothing for the deer to eat. We had deer. We had piles of deer. In a lot of areas, not all, but a lot of areas, we had real skinny deer. We had long, thin deer. Long, thin deer that didn't weigh as much as they would. Long, thin deer that didn't have the nutrition to grow the antlers that they would. It was just a fact. Now here's the other side of it. We did too much in some areas. Why? Well, it's because an entire state can't be micromanaged. You can't decide that this place over here a mile has way too many and that place over there 2 miles doesn't have enough and regulate it like that. It was bound to happen. I think they knew it was going to happen. But it happened. The other thing we had as a push at that time was Quality Deer Management Association. Okay, people still say QDA, okay, when they're talking about QDM, which is Quality Deer Management. And quality deer management is not necessarily just about antlers. It's about the quality of the habitat. It's about the quality of the deer. Okay, are they healthy? Are they nice, big, fat? Are they having twin fawns and not one fawn? Okay, so there's more to quality deer management than just antlers. So, what do? Some guys took and burned antlerless license in a fire to stop other people from getting them. But the problem is, when you do that, they just allocate more the following year because they're not being reported and filled out. Have we shot too many deer? Yeah, in some areas we have. Is the pendulum slowly swinging back toward the center? Well, as forest health gets better, habitat gets better, yeah, it's starting to swing back in some areas. Pendulum swinging back and forth? Well, it's Mother Nature. You see, we did a lot of damage to Mother Nature by having too many deer. And now by having far less than a carrying capacity, the does that were having one fawn are now able to have twins. Sometimes 3. And that's slowly building up the deer populations in some areas. The bad news is, other areas where you would like to see deer come back, it's not going to happen because the timber age, the age of the woods, age of the timber and stuff, is going to prevent it from ever having the carrying capacity that it did 30 to 50 years ago. It's a sad fact, but we have to acknowledge it. Some areas are just not going to come back, and some areas should not have a lot of deer, even though at one time they did. So that's a little explanation about how we got into the situation we are in some places. Why in some places? I won't say there's no deer, but there's not a lot of deer. And there shouldn't be. Hey, till next time, I'm Steve.